Hello, everybody. Welcome to Faithful Friday. I am so glad to be back with you all and hopefully back onto a normal schedule because everything's just been kind of crazy for the past couple of weeks because I've went to North Carolina to perform a play down there. I've been going back and forth to New York auditioning, doing my voiceover demos because I want to work full time in the entertainment industry as an actor, writer, producer, director, as many things as I can learn about the entertainment industry because I feel I have something that I can offer there, not also as well as inspiring you guys on this channel right here. So before I leave this earth one of these days, because we all got to leave at one point, I want to empty myself out to the world and not take all these gifts that I have with me to the grave. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was judgment, how we as people pass judgment on others and think we've had a made up mind about that person. And sometimes passing judgment is not good. Matter of fact, passing judgment at all is not good because number one, we all have something to work on. We all fall short and we all need things that we need to work on. And everybody started at a certain point where they grew. So if we don't know where that person has started or where, or we don't know their root cause to whatever is going on in their lives or whatever the situation may be. That's why I'm saying we shouldn't pass judgment because you don't necessarily know their whole story. Sometimes they may have an attitude because the parents had an attitude or the grandparents had an attitude or they went to school and somebody taught them. They have an attitude because there are some behaviors that are learned and they just pass through the gene pool and they just keep passing on. So that's why I say it's not good to always pass judgment. It's not good at all, once again, to pass judgment on someone because everybody falls short of being greater at some point in their life because we all have to be worked on. We're all learning every day and we should all be striving to be a greater person than we were yesterday. Striving to be a greater person. And the energy that we use on thinking about other people's stuff and what they got going on, we can put that into us. We can use that to push ourselves ahead in the fields that we want to work in the careers that we want to work in, as opposed to just working a job. Now, like I said in yesterday's video, I like how a character in Stuck had described job just over broke because some of us are a paycheck from being out in the street. Some of us are a paycheck from being homeless because sometimes, and I'm guilty of this too. We've passed people on the street and we've wondered how did they get there, and that's why I said we should not pass judgment because we don't necessarily know how they get there. That person who's on the streets sleeping may have just been one paycheck from being homeless, and then they lost their job, and then that was it. Because sometimes some people are getting that paycheck and that one paycheck is just enough to just keep a roof over their head and to keep food on the table, but they don't have anything extra to go beyond, something for that paycheck. That paycheck just cover the necessities. They got their rent, they got their light bills, they got all the bills that they got to pay, their taxes and such stuff like that, and then they just got enough for food or for transportation to get back to work. So some people, what they do have, they make it work with what little they do have. And then there's some that, they'll use that little and they stretch it and they'll have a little bit extra, but then they tend to spend on other things that aren't necessarily necessities, or they don't save for the next day because, like I said, there are some people that are a paycheck from being in the streets, and that's a scary thing. And I think a lot of people, when you pass them on the streets and they're homeless and they're sleeping on park benches or they're sleeping on corners and stuff like that, nobody wants to be homeless. Nobody. And we sit there, and I've heard people say, bum, get a job, such and such. Now, sometimes that may not be easy because without an address, it's hard to get a job. And I've worked with some people who lived in a shelter. When I worked overnight, there were these guys that would work in a shelter, and one of them, I remember, he lived in a shelter, and one of them had to leave the job because he had to get back to the shelter at a certain time. They didn't allow you to be out of the shelter at a certain time. So I'm like, well, if you need the overnight job to work, how come they're asking you to be in at a certain time if you need to work to live? And I just couldn't understand that. So we as people, we got to do better. We got to speak better. We got to speak better about the person that's down on their luck, the people that are on the streets, we got to speak better. Because I understand we can't save everybody because it's really impossible with what people make. And I was listening to Bishop T.D. Jakes on a video, and he was talking about how another pastor made the statement that the church needs to take care of the homeless. Now, it's all of our jobs to take care of the homeless, the hungry, and such, but the church is one institution that can't do it alone because, even with their 10% that they're tithing, you got all this money that the government takes from you. You got your federal taxes, your state taxes, your Social Security, and all the stuff that the government takes, and then your property taxes, all this stuff that the government takes from you. And God knows how they're managing your money. They're supposed to be managing it, to make sure, the streets and all the things that we need as Americans are taken care of. Not necessarily true, but we do need to start looking at that situation, just, taking care of people, because I think America's a business, but we've gotten so much into the business that I think we forget about the people. And I think both of the parties have forgetting about the people, because if you don't agree with what I say, I'm not going to work with you, and if I don't agree with what you say, I'm not going along with your plan, as opposed to coming together as people and let's doing what's best for the people. Because without people, you don't have an America, you don't have a country here, you don't have establishments here that you can do stuff right here. We have to stop throwing away people. We got to do better as people. Do not pass judgment on the person that may be walking by, that you may be walking by on the street, because you never know. You may be a paycheck away from being that person. As opposed to passing judgment, speak life, speak encouragement, speak things that can help uplift that person, that your words may just be able to help that person go another day and get to the next level. Your words may be able to help them, inspire them to create something beyond themselves and to look beyond their situation to go higher in life. Your words may help save someone's life. Your words may help save someone's life. I hope you're all well. Thank you guys for hanging in here with me. I know I haven't been for the past couple of weeks consistent, but I promise, like I said, I'm going to post videos, and I'm going to try to do my best to get back to a consistent basis. And leave me some comments below. I love to hear from you guys. I love commenting back. So let's get back to some consistency, and let's be greater. Your words may save someone's life. Be blessed.